are only a one-time use, but it'll give you a reading right away. Normally it's gonna be, I think the refills for 5 is like $400 for the sensors. Here, the capsules are I think $45. The probe is reusable, but the only difference is you have to wait 48 to 72 hours. This is, I mean, if you're not in a hurry, you know you got the job, you go ahead of time, take the moisture reading. What you're gonna need to do, for 1,000 square feet, you need to do 3 probes. 1 in the corner, 1 in the middle, 1 on the end. If it's 4,000 square feet, you need to put 1 probe in every 1,000 square feet in the center and take the readings. You have a chart here. When you're taking the readings, make sure you have, if it's commercial, have a GC there, showing them the readings, or a customer there. That way it verifies when you did that floor, there was no moisture issues. If the readings are above 80% relevant readings on it, you're gonna require a vapor barrier. 95% of the guys put a vapor barrier down anyway to help the spread ratio. You're only talking about maybe 5-10 cents a square foot, 10 cents a square foot for vapor barrier. They do it for extra precaution, to make the epoxy spread rate flat, and if you don't, what's going to happen if you have texture in the surface, it's going to leave you a little texture. Once you do the vapor barrier, it's going to seal off the surface, and your base coat's going to glide over. It's going to make it look smooth like this. Don't mind the dirt in there. This is from everybody walking in and stuff. Once you know that, if it's got 80%, you need to put vapor barrier. It's going to call E100 BB5. You're going to also use one of these. You need to shoot the floor, find out what temperature it is. The floor is 60 degrees. Our epoxies are all 100% solids. They set up at 72 degrees, 6 to 8 hours. About 8 hours will set up, drying time. If it's colder, it drops down. It drops down, it takes longer. If you start going below 45 degrees temperature, what's gonna happen, it's gonna go dormant. It's not gonna set up until the temperatures start rising up again. Then it'll start setting up. We do have cold temperature epoxy that go down to 0 degrees. That sets up real quick. Very seldom you use that. Unless you're doing freezers or something like that. Or you're in a hurry, you want to get a garage floor done, that's another thing you could do. Another thing you need to look out for, if you walk into an area and the floor's already failing, coming up, they have an epoxy floor done, you need to find out what's causing that floor. You need to ask questions, how long is that floor done? Did they prep it right? Was there any contaminants underneath it? That's the only time they're going to use it. Or did they use a Home Depot Sherwin-Williams paint that they call epoxy? All that stuff from Sherwin-Williams, not Sherwin, Home Depot and Menards, the little do-it-yourself kits, that's not epoxy 100% resin. That's a water base, almost like a latex paint. If it's failing, you need to go see why it's failing. You need to see if you can scrape up the coating. If it's coming off real good, real easy, there's an issue. It could be they didn't prep the surface, they didn't grind the surface. It could have contaminants on there, or you got moisture issues. If you walk into a floor and the floor's coming up and you see little bubbles and you break the bubbles, there's water underneath there, you got a moisture problem. You need, if they want you to do that job, you're gonna need to remove that coating, let that concrete breathe for about 2 or 3 days to get that moisture out of there. I would also get a fan and put a fan on there and do that. Once that's done, I will do a moisture reading and find out where it's at. If it's at 99 or 100%, don't touch it. You're gonna have to use some up. You can't use a non-breathable seal or epoxy over that because it's gonna trap the moisture on there. Any questions with that? Here at this point, after we know we need a vapor barrier, we're gonna show you how to put it down. You're gonna take care of all your crack repairs. I'm gonna show you right now on these blocks how to do a crack repair. We have urethane crack repair sets up in 15 minutes. We have a paste that you can go right over while it's still wet and do your floor. We have an epoxy quick repair that's set up in about an hour. So we have different variations. A lot of guys are using the 15-minute cure time as long as there's no moisture in there. All right, we're going to show you how to fix some cracks. I don't think I got any cracks in there. I'm going to have to cut some cracks in there.
You done with this logo or?
Yeah, that's done, that's done. Oh, here. After you do your crack repairs, this is the profile you want. A CP2 or CP3 is good enough for epoxies. Take a look at them, these two. When I tell my guys, I tell them use either a 1820 grit diamond. I'm not a fan of going 25 and up. The problem when your diamonds start going up, you're creating such a fine dust that you're bending it back into the pores and you're closing the pores. We don't want that. We want to open the pores. That way our product will suck into the concrete. A lot of guys are going, I had a guy this week, what's today, Wednesday? This week he uses 60-80s. I'm like, no, you can't use 60-80s. That's you're sealing out the pores of the concrete. And you go, oh really? Yeah, so you need to use 1820s. Or we got 6 grit is the more aggressive. If you're in a hurry, guys, do it with 6 grit, 1820. I sell a lot of 1820s or 6 grits. I have PCDs to remove coatings. I'll explain that later. But those are the profiles that you need, CP2 and CP3, either or. You want the pores open for the epoxy to suck in. All right, I'm gonna open some cracks here. I'm gonna open some cracks here. Is this on? Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you're doing crack repair, you have a crack, you're gonna open them up with a crack tracer. You only want to go down halfway down. You don't want to bury it. The reason why you're opening up is gonna hold the material in that crack. So what we're gonna do, I need a little brush. Okay. You want to open it out. If I'm going to use a fast set, it sets up in about 15 minutes.
Does that attachment go for this, or it comes with the thing?
What's that?
The attachment you have.
Well, they said separate. Yeah. I already got it.
Give me one of those now. This, you want to mix it with the stick. Real quick. It sets up real quick. So if you're in a hurry and you want something to get done the crack's real good, real fast, you're going to do this. Let me sand too. It's a 1-to-1. You want to keep your measurements right. We also have it in cartridge. You're gonna get about 150 linear feet. We got the gun. I don't know where the gun happened. The gun here?
Yeah.
Once you mix it, you want to start using it. Yeah. Is it the B? All you gonna do is pour it in there. You grab some sand. You're gonna keep an eye on it. You don't want it to go down. Once you got that, also you can use this to make your tool joints, to fill them in if you want a seamless floor. Say this is a tool joint. You're gonna just fill it in. You're gonna put sand over it. This will make your seamless floors. You're gonna grab a trowel, make it smooth. We sell a special squeegee too. It's a B. When you do crack repair, all you do squeegee and it makes it smooth. Oh, here it is, right there. It's 9:42. We'll check and see how long it takes. So this is the facet. It's already getting hot. You want to use it all up. You don't want, you don't want to make a big batch. Just make enough for the crack. If you got a long crack, you're gonna have two guys. One guy pouring, one guy putting the sand in there, and you can have another guy with a trowel, smoothing it out. Don't wait till it gets hard and try to smooth it out. Then you got a lot of grinding to do. Here, you're gonna let this set. You're gonna hit it with the grinder real quick. Take off the excess. And that's ready to go. Once you have your crack repairs and they're fixed, tomorrow we'll show you how to use a material with the control joints. Control joints are when it's got a felt, when it's two pieces of slab poured together. We have two different materials. We have a urethane single component caulk made for moving concrete, and we have a FS4 we use for saw cuts, just to make it seamless. It's a flexible epoxy. Any questions on the crack repair and the moisture sensitive temperature?
Why are you using the sand to it?
Sand makes it more dense, harder. If you didn't use the sand and you just put the crack repair in there, it's gonna hold, but it's not gonna be as strong with sand.
Right.
We have a 60-40 sieve special blend sand. When you trowel it, it compacts together. A lot of sands are round, so when you trowel them in, there's a lot of voids. So we came up with a formula using different sands. 60-40 is the best to make it more dense. So when you trowel it, it closes the voids out because it's two different sizes. Okay?
Can we see the squeegee
Yeah.
The trial?
trial?
That's what, like what I did, use a trowel, you can just squeegee it out, cleans everything out, and be easy. You don't have to be on your hands and knees.
What is this, a crack repair coat?
It's
What you use it
quick patch.
I know.
We got quick fix, quick crack.
Oh,
We have Mercap. We have your urethane. We got a patch. We got different ones.
this one's a urethane.
Yeah, this is urethane, but it's moisture sensitive. So if there's moisture in there, it could swell up. All right. I don't recommend using it outside. It's just for inside. Any other questions?
Grind the stuff down after that.
Yeah, we're gonna grind it down later on. Well, I'm not gonna grind it here, it's too support, but normally, once you're done with all your crack repairs, you're gonna grind the floor with an 1820s or 6 grit diamonds, and you're gonna do everything at once. You're not gonna fix your cracks and grind it by hand, no sense. You're gonna have a floor machine, unless you only got a hand grinder, then yeah. So, all right, we're done with all the crack repairs, we're ready to
I
go.
got a question. How thick can you repair a crack?
Or how
You
deep?
could go 4 inches deep. I mean, if it goes all the way down, you can see the bottom. You're gonna have to get some backer rod. You got any backer rod here or no?
Go with.
Or width, yeah?
Yeah.
It's in depth.
You're gonna have to fill the void in, because if you're putting your material in, it's gonna go straight down. We got a backer rod I'm gonna show you.
And how about the
How
wide?
You're gonna have to make a motor. You can fix
Okay,
it.
like you can fix
And then you're gonna
anything.
have to put a saw cut there, and then we're gonna put a flexible epoxy in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only inside.
Well, you can fix cracks outside, but it's a different material. This is a quick 15-minute thing. I don't need that much, just a little bit, Mark.
What about the 2-part cut?
That's the same thing as I mixed it. This, oh, with the gun. With the gun, all you gotta do is pressing it down, follow your line.
Right.
Same thing, this is gonna give you 150 linear feet at quarter by quarter.
And then you don't have to mix it though, right?
No,
Yeah,
this
it
will
comes
mix
already.
yourself. All you gotta do is have a guy put the
Right.
sand in there and that's
Alright,
it.
bet.
Fast.
How much is that?
I think like $40-something.
I'm talking about the actual tube. The actual
Yeah, the tube's about $40-something.
40 something
yeah.
bucks. Okay. I only need about 30.
All right, if you got a void, like here, all you do is put it in there real tight, then you start putting your material in there. I like to put sand in first, that way it fills any voids out, and this is expandable, so you squeeze it, it opens up. If you put sand in there, it's gonna fill anything out. I like putting sand first, and then filling it with the fast patch, and then putting the sand over there. Just hold it. If you're gonna hold, you see it down, you're gonna be wasting your material. Another thing, if you've seen the bottom, I used to also fill it in with sand and start doing that way too, so.
You feel it?
It's called backer rod, it comes in different sizes.
Yes.
All right, we fixed our cracks, the surface has been profiled. Now we're gonna mix our vapor barrier. Our vapor barrier is called E100 BB5. It's a 1-to-1 mix, you have to introduce water to it. What the water does, it grabs the vapor barrier and sucks it into the pores of the concrete to encapsulate the pores. Like water, you put water in concrete, you see the water, just suck it in. So it's the same thing here, is you're gonna grab the vapor barrier, it's gonna start out as white. When we roll it out, it's gonna turn into little pores already got it. Once you mix it 1-to-1, you can roll it out of a squeegee and back roll it at 225 square feet a gallon. It has to be smooth like glass. If you have dull areas or if you have dull areas, not shiny panels, you need to put another coat on it. I can't even say that word. Tell me say have a person do 2 coats. The only time he does 2 coats is of course the concrete is real porous and that's the only time. But 90% of the guys get it done in 1 coat at 225 square feet. He's gonna mix it 1-to-1. And then we're gonna introduce 2 pints per gallon, 1 quart per gallon. So if we got two gallons, you're gonna have 2 quarts per gallon.
There's something on those tails as well.
You gotta mix the 2
You say one hour?
depending on how much you
You
mix.
follow what I'm saying? I watch a lot of videos. I don't see follow people.
To pour it.
Yeah, efficient.
Yeah.
Like a lip and the bucket.
Yeah.
Sometimes I pour like no job.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you follow them to not steal.
Yeah. Some of the product gonna get stuck in that funnel, so you're losing possibly that way. Ain't no fault.
You're right. But you're right though. You've all passed
You'll put it.
All right, we're gonna,
make sure what you want.
Exactly.
we're mixing it 1-to-1.
That way it's going directly in there.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
gonna be
Or
squeegee and back
some
roll.
residue might be on that bottle and go in your foot. And
This dries about 5 to 6 hours at 72 degrees. As soon as it's tax free, the sooner than that, it's tax free, you put your other coat right over the top.
gotta be easier.
For some reason, you miss a 24-hour window after you put it down, You're gonna need to sand the surface. You're gonna sand the surface with a 180 or 225 sanding screen. You're gonna wipe it down with denatured alcohol or xylene.
You only use it if there's like 80% more, right?
What's that?
If there's 80% moisture or more, that's the only time.
A lot of guys that just put it down for the spread rate to take the base coat down. I mean, yeah, I always did it anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna save you more in the long run when you're putting your base coat down. Because what happens is you're going over fresh concrete, concrete that's already been ground. It's gonna suck it in. So you're gonna go with a cheaper product, which to put the vapor barrier down is gonna encapsulate everything. Then you're gonna put your base coat down. It's gonna give you the spread rate a lot more. You may get more than 150 square feet, but base coat's gonna be down at 125 square feet. This is gonna be down at 225 square feet. So a 2-gallon kit is gonna give you 450 square feet. You may get more depending on the surface of the concrete. If it's tight concrete and it's not real porous, you might get a little bit more.
You want to put it down after you grind on the floor before you.
After. You wanna open the pores of the concrete.
You want to fix the crack, grind it, and then you put the.
Also, a lot of guys get confused when I tell them grind the floor. You don't grind the floor till you hit the stone. No. All you want to do to the surface is break the cream open for the vapor barrier can penetrate into the concrete.
But the grade of the sandpaper you use is gotta be.
It's 220, 220, I think it's 225 or 180. All right, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna practice on this one board here. You're gonna use a 3/8 snap roller, stretch free.
You can't touch this.
Yeah, you do not put any color into this. You start adding color to this, what's gonna happen, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna penetrate. All right, this is your vapor barrier. What I'm doing, I'm pulling it. This is not gonna give you, what I'm doing, I'm embedding into the concrete surface. For guys that are just starting off, I would mark my wall. Say 100 square feet here, 100 square feet, that's 200 square feet, or whatever it's gonna be. You know that gallon's gonna be enough for that area. If you got a half a gallon left and you did a 100, 10 by 10, whatever it is, or 50 by 2, whatever, and you only use a half a gallon, you're pulling it too tight, and it's not gonna work.
Put it on your desk?
Yeah, put it on the desk. All right, you're gonna leave a bead there. The other guy's gonna be here with the roller. You want to keep your epoxy at 72 degrees. If you got it out in the garage and it's cold out there, and you're going to go do a job, guess what? The epoxy is going to be like molasses. You're going to lose your square footage because it's too thick. What I used to do, I used to have my trucks. There's a picture of a bread truck I had. I built heaters in there. Boxes where I had an epoxy floor done. I'm going to do epoxy floor. I ran an inverter to 120 and put an electric heater to keep all my epoxy warm in there. So when you're coming out to the job site, you're gonna get the spread rate, it's gonna go good. If you leave it in the truck and it's 0 degrees out there, by the time you get out there, that's gonna be cold already. So you need to keep it warm to get the square footage.
So they don't actually would think that maybe that's not like having it, that it just sit at the project already and then.
You gotta be careful. You might come back, it might not be there. Hey, I've been there and done that.
That happens.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let them try to show that. I get it.
Even if your product is room temperature, it's above 70, you gotta make, that ground temperature is gonna be crucial.
if you lay it down and it's under 50, it's gonna change the ratio.
See, right now, this product is cold, that's why it looks a little thick. Normally, it's gonna flow. Problem is, we got them by the window, it gets cold over there.
So when you scan that floor, you see whoever you're talking to is dealing with that customer and telling them the temperature. They gotta know that it may take a little more time to clear out.
Would it be better to do this in spring and the summer?
No, guys are still doing it now. You just gotta know your temperatures, how long it's gonna take it to set up. Don't go in the garage and do a garage floor and then come back 8 hours later and it's still wet. You need to know what the temperature is. I do have fast set epoxy set up in 2 to 3 hours at 72 degrees. We have poly spirals that set up at 72 degrees, an hour and a half, 2 hours. So, I mean, we got all kinds of coatings. We have Novolac 4s, Novolac 5 for highly chemical resistant epoxies. We have a UL7, which is for base coats. It's no UV inhibitors in there. You can pigment that. That's the cheapest epoxy if you want to do for the base coat. All right, we're gonna let this go. Now, all right. Any questions on the vapor barrier or anything? Any questions on the crack repair?